I never thought I'd crash my own brother's wedding with a checkbook in hand, but there I was, staring down the barrel of family betrayal like it was just another Tuesday in Los Angeles. The wedding planner's voice had cracked over the phone that morning. "Abigail. Honey, the family's pulled your invite. It's for the best, they say." And I'd laughed. A hollow, bitter sound that echoed off my Echo Park apartment walls. Best for who? The same kin who'd let me rot in juvie for their dirty little secret 15 years ago, while they scrubbed their hands clean and built empires on my silence. It started with a single call, but the roots went deeper than the San Andreas Fault. My name's Abigail Hayes, 32. A freelance graphic designer scraping by on gigs for indie bands and boutique coffee shops. I wasn't always the black sheep. Hell, I was the golden girl once. The one who held the family together after Dad's construction scam imploded. He was the king of flipping foreclosures in the valley, turning crack dens into McMansions overnight. But in 2009, when the recession hit like a freight train, Dad needed a fall guy. Enter me, 18, fresh out of high school, and stupidly loyal. He forged my signature on a loan doc for a phantom flip, $200K wired to offshore accounts, and when the feds came knocking, I took the hit. Juvenile detention for fraud. 2 years of my life flushed because family sticks together. "Abby," he'd whispered, tears in his eyes that dried faster than desert rain. I did my time quietly. No snitching. No deals. Mom cried at the hearings, but her tears were for the optics. Not me. Brother Ethan? He was 16 then. All gangly limbs and video games. But he grew into the golden boy while I faded. College at USC on a scholarship he earned, then law school at Stanford, courtesy of Dad's slush fund. Now, at 29, he's marrying Lila Voss, tech heiress. Instagram perfect. The kind of girl who makes Pilates look like a constitutional right. Their wedding? A $500,000 extravaganza at a Napa vineyard. The sort where influencers sip rose and influencers get proposed to. And me? The deposit fairy. Yeah, that's right. I'd fronted the $50,000 venue fee last year. Cashed from my savings after a brutal client payout. Just a loan. Sis, Ethan had grinned over FaceTime from his Silicon Valley loft. Pay you back after the merger. Liar. The call came at 8:17 a.m., right as I was nursing a black coffee and sketching logos for a punk revival fest. Karen, the planner, a peroxide blonde with a voice like honeyed gravel, sounded almost apologetic. "Abigail, darling, there's been a change. The groom's family, your family, they've decided it's best if you're not there. Something about old wounds and fresh starts." "I'm so sorry." "Sorry?" I could hear the subtext. "You're the stain we can't bleach out." My blood turned to battery acid. 15 years of swallowing their shit. And now this? Disinvited from the altar like yesterday's trash. But that deposit? Non-refundable. Ironclad. My name on the dotted line. A slow smile crept across my face. The kind that scares cats. "Karen," I said, voice steady as a surgeon's scalpel. "Tell Ethan the party's still on. And remind him, possession is 9/10 of the law." I hung up and paced my cramped living room. Posters of old-school Ramones peeling from the walls. The scent of yesterday's takeout tie lingering like regret. Flashbacks hit hard. The courtroom in Van Nuys. Judge Harlan's gavel cracking like thunder as he sentenced me. Mom dabbing her eyes with a monogrammed hanky while Dad avoided my gaze. Ethan had visited once, sneaking in contraband candy bars, whispering, "You're a hero, Uppy." We'll make it right.
Hero.
What a crock. He cashed in on my sacrifice. Parlayed it into partnerships at Vostech. Lila's daddy's empire. Now they're tying the knot, and I'm the ghost they want exorcised. Not today, brother dear. By noon, I'd lawyered up pro bono from an old juvie contact, Maria, who owed me for covering her ass during a lockdown brawl. Sis, this is gold, she cackled over speakerphone. Breach of contract, emotional distress, maybe even fraud if they try to dodge. You hold that deposit like a loaded gun. I booked a red-eye to SFO. Packing light, black jeans, Doc Martens, a sheath dress for the occasion, and my laptop loaded with every email, receipt, and voice note proving I'd bankrolled their dream day. The flight was a blur of turbulence and cheap gin, my mind a storm of what-ifs. What if I just let it go, walk away, like I always had?
Nah.
This wasn't about money, it was about the ledger finally balancing. Landed in Napa at dawn, rented a cherry red Mustang convertible because fuck subtlety, and gunned it up Highway 29. Vineyards blurring into green seas under a sky threatening rain. The venue, Chateau Elysium, squatted like a French fever dream on a hillside, stone arches, infinity pools, fairy lights strung like spiderwebs. Karen met me at the wrought iron gates, clipboard clutched like a shield, her Botox smile faltering. Abigail, what are you? The ceremony's in 3 hours. I flashed the contract printout, my signature bold as brass.
Exactly.
And I'm here to ensure every penny's worth. Her eyes darted to the parking lot, where vendors buzzed like angry bees, unloading floral arches and crystal flutes. Inside, the air hummed with prep, caterers piping frosting onto 5-tier cakes, a string quartet tuning up Vivaldi on the terrace. Ethan spotted me first, striding from the groom's suite in a half-tied bow tie, his face paling like skim milk. Abby, what the hell? You weren't supposed to. Lila trailed behind, her veil trailing like a bridal ghost, phone in hand mid-Snapchat. Mom and Dad hovered. Dad in his rented tux looking like a penguin on parole. Mom's pearls strung tight as her lips. Abigail Rose Hayes, she hissed. This is our day. Leave. Before you ruin everything. Ruin? I laughed.
Low and mean.
Mom, I already did. 15 years ago. Remember? When I ate your sins for breakfast, the air thickened. Guests trickling in, cousins from Pasadena. Ethan's frat bros from Stanford, pausing mid-champagne sip to gawk. Whispers rippled. Is that the jailbird sister? Thought she was persona non grata. I didn't shout, I didn't need to. I just stood there, contract in hand, and said the words that ignited the fuse. The deposit's mine.
Folks.
50 grand. Non-refundable. So, unless you want me to pull the plug, shut this circus down right now, let's talk about that old family debt. Ethan's jaw clenched, his lawyer brain whirring. Abby.
Please.
Not here. But Lila stepped forward. All Valley Girl steel. This is harassment. We're calling security. Security? A couple rent-a-cops in ill-fitting polos? I arched a brow. Go ahead. But first, explain to your Insta followers why the Hayes-Voss nuptials tanked over a little sibling rivalry. The standoff stretched, taut as a bowstring. Mom clutched Dad's arm. Her voice a stage whisper. She wouldn't. She's bluffing. But they knew me better. I'd bluffed for them once. And look where it got me. Juvie bunks with roaches the size of fists, group therapy circles, where I lied about loving my family. No more. As the officiant milled awkwardly nearby, I dropped the bomb. Ethan, you remember the flip on Elm Street? The one Dad pinned on me? Turns out, I kept the ledgers. Every wire transfer. Every shell company. Your merger at Vostok? Built on that sand. Gasps echoed off the stone walls. Lila's eyes widened. Daddy's empire? Tainted. And Ethan's face twisted. A mask cracking. You threatening us? After everything we did for you? Did for me? The irony burned hotter than Napa sun. They did for me by airbrushing me out of holiday cards. By Ethan dodging my calls until he needed cash for his down payment. But here's the kicker. I loved him once. Bone deep. Shared secrets under backyard lemon trees. Plotted escapes from Mom's suffocating soirees.
Now?
He was the villain in his own redemption arc. Flipping from victim to perp with every calculated smile. Everything you did, I echoed. Voice velvet over knives. Was for you. So let's renegotiate, brother. Or the deposit walks, and so does the wedding. The terrace fell silent, save for the quartet's hesitant pluck. Guests shifted. Phones out. Liv tweeting the drama like it was a Real Housewives finale. I could feel the fracture lines spiderwebbing. Team Abigail. The underdog avenger. Team family. The keepers of fragile peace. But peace? That was the lie they'd sold me. The one that kept me chained. As rain began to spit from the clouds, I waited for Ethan's move. Checkmate was mine. But the game's just starting. The first fat raindrops hit like accusations, splattering the terrace flagstones as Ethan's groomsmen shuffled under umbrellas, their loafers scuffing Italian marble. Lila yanked her veil inside, barking orders at the planner. Tarps.
Now.
While Mom herded guests toward the solarium, her heels clicking like castanets. But I stayed rooted. Rain slicking my hair to my scalp, the contract curling at the edges in my fist. Ethan grabbed my arm, his grip lawyer tight, nails digging crescents. Inside.
Now.
We talk this out. His breath reeked of mints masking bourbon, pre-wedding nerves, or preemptive courage. We ended up in the groom's suite. A wood-paneled cave smelling of cedar and cologne. Fairy lights twinkling mockingly through French doors. Dad paced like a caged bull, loosening his collar. Mom perched on a velvet chaise, fanning herself with the seating chart. Lila hovered by the vanity. Liv stream off but notifications pinging like gunfire. Ethan shut the door with a thud that rattled the crystal decanters. Abby, this is insane. You're gonna tank my life over. Over that, the past is buried.
Buried.
Like the evidence I dug up last month. Scanning yellow docs in a storage unit that smelled of mildew and broken promises. I shook off his hand, water dripping onto the Persian rug. Buried? Like you buried me.
Ethan?
2 years in SYF. Remember? Fights in the yard. Shrinks probing why a good girl went bad. All so you could play the prodigal son. His eyes, hazel like mine, but colder, flashed. I was a kid. What was I supposed to do? Rat on Dad? Go down with the ship?
Ah.
The flip. First loyalty to family, now to self-preservation. Classic Ethan. Adapt or die. Consequences be damned. Dad stopped pacing, his jowls quivering. Enough, Abigail. We paid your fines. Got you that apartment when you got out. We're square.
Square?
I barked a laugh, pulling my phone from my pocket. Square like this. I tapped play on a voice memo. Dad's gravelly timbre filling the room. Just sign here. Obby girl. It's a formality. Ethan's future depends on it. Recorded in secret during one of his reconciliation lunches at In-N-Out, when he thought I was too broken to fight back. Mom gasped, hand to throat. You taped your father? That's illegal. So was framing your daughter, I shot back. Lila's face hardened, scrolling furiously, damage control. No doubt texting her PR shark. This is blackmail. Pure and simple. Ethan, end this. But Ethan didn't end it. He deflated, sinking into an armchair, head in hands. What do you want? Obby? Money? The deposit back with interest? Name it. Vulnerability, his ace in the hole. The one that always reeled me in. Remember the night after my release? Him showing up at the halfway house with burgers and bad sci-fi DVDs? Where even now, he'd said,
Lies.
I wanted more than cash. I wanted the truth etched in stone. The scales tipped so hard they shattered. I want you to tell them, I said, nodding at Lila and the parents. All of it. The scam. My fall. How you used it to climb. A silence stretched, broken only by rain lashing the windows. Dad's face purpled. Over my dead body, Lila broke first, her tech bro poise cracking.
Wait.
If this leaks, Boss Tech stock plummets. My father's board, she trailed off, eyes calculating. Flip number 2, from bride-to-be to boardroom warrior. What if we compensate her? Quietly. A settlement. NDA attached. Mom latched on like a lifeline.
Yes.
Abigail. Darling, think of the family. We could set you up a house in the valley. Maybe that design firm you've dreamed of.
Bribes now.
The American way, money as morphine for old wounds. But I saw the strings, puppeteered by guilt and greed. No, I said flatly. I want it public. The vows, the toasts, include the asterisk. Ethan Hayes, groom who owes his soul to his sister's sacrifice. Ethan surged up, face inches from mine. You're destroying us. For spite.
Spite?
Tried justice. Served cold. But doubt flickered. Was this revenge? Or just rage in a pretty dress? The door burst open then. Karen breathless. Guests are restless. We delay the ceremony. Lila nodded curtly. 15 minutes. As she herded the parents out, Ethan lingered, voice low. Obby, remember the treehouse? We swore blood brothers, sisters. Whatever. Doesn't that count? It did.
God. It did.
But oaths shatter like cheap glass. It counted until it didn't, I whispered. He left. Shoulders slumped. And I exhaled, the room spinning. Outside. Thunder grumbled. A cosmic laugh track. The solarium was a greenhouse of tension when I emerged, crystal clinking under polite chatter masking malice. Cousins shot side eyes. Ethan's best man, a venture capitalist with a man bun, muttered, Drama queens. Am I right? I claimed a corner table, nursing a flute of view while scanning faces. Aunt Rita, Dad's sister, sidled over, her perfume cloying as her smile. Abigail, honey, water under the bridge. Boys will be boys.
Boys.
Plural. She knew, had always known, and said zip during the trial. Bridge burned. Aunt Rita. Jump or swim. She flounced off, and I spotted Lila cornering the officiant, a silver-haired hippie type in linen robes. What fresh scheme! As the quartet struck up Pachelbel's canon, irony much, the bridal march loomed. But Ethan waylaid me in the foyer, desperation etched deep. Okay,
You win.
I'll confess. After the I dose. Private toast. Family only. A concession. Laced with poison. Delay the blade. Dull its edge. Swear it, I demanded. Palm out. He spat in his old playground pact and slapped it to mine. Wet. Warm. Binding. Trust flickered, fragile as the rain-slick vines outside. Was this victory? Or just another layer of their web? The ceremony unfolded in fits, Lila gliding down the aisle like a Botox swan, Ethan fidgeting at the altar, guests oblivious or willfully blind. Vows exchanged in sickness and health, for richer or poorer, rang hollow. My deposit check burning a hole in my clutch. Then the recessional. Applause thundering as they kissed. All teeth and triumph. Reception beckoned, long tables groaning under heirloom tomatoes and Kobe beef. A photo booth churning selfies. I slipped in last. Ghost at the feast. Toasting with water while they popped corks. But Ethan cornered me by the cake. Champagne sloshing. Your moment, sis. Family tent. Now. We filed into a pavilion strung with lanterns. Parents. Lila. A handful of aunts and uncles nursing suspicions. He cleared his throat, words tumbling. The scam.
My sacrifice.
His complicity. Gasps. Tears. Mom's mascara running black rivers. Dad stared at his shoes. Lila's hand tightened on Ethan's. Alliance forged in fire. It's out, he finished. Voice raw. We're sorry. Truly. Applause?
No.
Just heavy air. Accusations unspoken. I nodded. Throat tight. Debt paid. But as we rejoined the party, Lila's whisper to Ethan, "We'll lawyer this tomorrow," pricked my ear. Flip 3. Remorse to retaliation. The game's not over. The reception dragged into twilight, Napa's valleys swallowing the sun like a bad bet, leaving us bathed in lantern glow and the low buzz of forced merriment. I danced once, with a groomsman who smelled of axe and entitlement, his hand low on my waist as he probed. So, you're the wild card.
Huh.
Family lore says you did time for.
What?
Art theft. I twirled away, laughing sharp. Nah. Just borrowing Dad's backbone. Try it sometime. Alone again. I nursed a gin and tonic at the bar, ice melting like my resolve. Ethan's confession hung in the air, a pall over the polka-dot napkins and past hors d'oeuvres. Guests tiptoed around me, polite nods, averted eyes, like I was a landmine in Louboutins. Lila approached under pretense of cake-cutting photos, her gown a cascade of silk that screamed money. Abigail, she said, voice pitched for discretion. That was
Brave.
messy, but brave.
Brave.
Or brutal. Her eyes, cool as Vostek servers, appraised me. Ethan's wrecked. But marriages bend. Don't break over history. Subtext, back off. Or we bury you deeper. I clinked my glass to hers. History's a bitch that way. Keeps exhuming skeletons. She smiled, teeth perfect, and glided off to cut the cake, sword through fondant, cheers erupting. Blood on the blade? Not yet. As night deepened, the party's pulse quickened, DJs spinning EDM remixes of Motown, bodies grinding on the parquet floor, champagne flowing freer than truth. I slipped away to the vineyards, gravel crunching under my heels, air thick with damp earth and distant laughter. My phone buzzed. Maria. My lawyer pal, you good? Leaks starting. Hayes wedding fail trending.
Shit.
Ethan's frat bros. No doubt. Turning scandal into scrollable schadenfreude. I texted back. Hold the line. One more play. But what? The confession was catharsis. Sure. But revenge? It itched unfinished. A loose thread begging pull. Back at the tent, the family toast loomed, Ethan's promised olive branch. We gathered in a circle, fairy lights haloing guilty faces. He raised a glass, voice steadier now, bourbon bravery kicking in. To Abigail, the sister who saved us, even when we didn't deserve it. Murmurs of agreement, clinks echoing. Dad mumbled, "Proud of you, kiddo," his eyes wet, crocodile tears. Or genuine thaw. Mom hugged me stiffly. Chanel no. 5 choking me. Forgive us? Forgive? The word tasted like ash. But I nodded. For the optics. For the crack in their armor. Water under the bridge. I echoed Aunt Rita's banality. Lies we tell to sleep at night. Then the twist, the one that'd haunt debates in comment sections and cocktail hours for years. Lila, flushed from cake and Cabernet, pulled me aside mid-toast. Her whisper urgent. There's more. Ethan. He didn't tell you everything. My gut twisted. Spill. She glanced at the dancers. Then, the scam? It wasn't just Dad. Ethan. He knew the merger docs were dirty. Used your juvie record to scare off a whistleblower, some junior exec who sniffed the offshore ties. Blackmailed him with family history of fraud. Ethan? My Ethan. Flipping not just sides, but souls? Rage boiled. But colder. Betrayal squared. Layered like Napa fog. I confronted him by the fire pits. Flames licking logs as guests roasted marshmallows. Oblivious. The exec? You weaponized me? His face crumpled. Then hardened flip 4. Denial to defiance. It was business. Abby. Vostek was tanking. Lila's dad gave me one shot. Business. The great American absolution. You used my cage as your ladder, I hissed. All those visits. The candy bars, props. He grabbed my shoulders. Eyes wild. I love you. But love doesn't pay Silicon Valley rents. Love. The dirtiest word in the Hayes dictionary. The climax crashed then, polarizing as a partisan filibuster. I didn't scream. I strategized. Slipping to the DJ booth. I hijacked the mic, ladies and gents. A special announcement and broadcast it all. The scam. My fall. Ethan's latest sin. Gasps rippled. Phones whipped out. Live feeds igniting. Lila lunged. Stop. But too late. The crowd fractured, some cheering my truth bomb, Sister Revenge. Others booing the buzzkill, poor groom. Mom fainted dramatically into Dad's arms. Aunts clutched pearls. Ethan stared. Betrayed by my betrayal. His wedding a viral wake. Security hustled me out. Rain now a deluge. Mustangs topped down as I peeled gravel. Sirens wailed distant. Cops? Boss lawyers? Didn't matter. In the rear view, lanterns twinkled like dying stars. The chateau a soggy ruin of rice and regret. Happy ending? For me? Maybe, trending as the anti-heroine who flipped the script. Offers pinging for podcasts. A book deal whispered.
But Ethan?
Merger in ashes. Lila's ring off by morning. Family splintered like fault lines.
B-kick.
Or karma's checkmate. Driving south on 29. Wipers slashing tears from the windshield. I cranked Springsteen, Born to Run, windows down. Wind whipping free. No one right. No one wrong, just survivors in the American grind. Debts collected in the dark. The deposit? Cashed metaphorically. 50 grand of soul settled. But as Napa faded, doubt not, did I free us? Or just forge new chains? That's the twist. The endless debate. Pullover at a diner off 80. Paella mode and black coffee. Scrolling Hayes wedding fail. Comments flood. She's a monster.
Nah.
Family's the villain. Me? I smile. Fork piercing crust. In the end, revenge isn't sweet. It's just the bill coming due. And damn if it doesn't taste like justice.